What happens when a helicopter engines fail? What is autorotation? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. So what happens when a helicopter engine or engines fail at the same time? And what is autorotation? Well, essentially, if the engines fail, the helicopter pilot is able to glide the helicopter back down to the surface using a process of autorotation. So what is autorotation? Well, essentially, when the engines are working, they are driving the main rotor gearbox, which is directly attached to the main rotor mast, which have the blades attached to it, and that's what spins the blades. Now, the blades in their rotation are at a certain pitch, which will produce a certain amount of lift and total rotor thrust. Whilst they're producing lift, they're also producing a lot of drag. So the engine power is required to overcome that drag and just to keep on driving those rotors, therefore producing the lift to make the helicopter fly, to make it accelerate, to make it go up and down. So when the engines fail, there's nothing to overcome the drag on those blades. So the blades, if they're kept at a constant high pitch, they will suddenly start to slow down rapidly, and the blades will get into a condition of blade stall, and therefore the helicopter will fall out of the sky. There won't be enough rotor thrust generated by those slowing down blades to keep the helicopter in the sky, and it'll be unrecoverable. So the helicopter pilot has to enter autorotation. So what does this mean? So the pilot would manipulate the pitch of all the blades at the same time by lowering the collective all the way down. That reduces the blades to flat pitch. So therefore, they're producing minimum drag. They're not producing any lift per se, but they're producing minimum drag. As the helicopter starts to descend, essentially airflow from beneath the disc spins the blades and acts as a windmill, as it were. It spins the blades, and in so doing, they produce lift so that the helicopter can descend, but it does not accelerate towards the ground uncontrollably. This upflow of air can keep the blades turning. Therefore, it's in effect allowing the pilot to glide the helicopter back down to the surface. As long as there is a certain amount of rotor speed, there will be a certain amount of control power within the rotor, which the pilot can manipulate and fly left, right, forwards and backwards, just so that we can get into a landing position, a safe landing position. And then as the pilot gets closer to the ground, they will initiate what is called a flare, which is pulling back on the cyclic, and that will pitch the rotor disc backwards and pitch the helicopter up like so. So as the helicopter is coming down, there's still that upflow of air through the base of the rotor disc, still spinning those blades. And then as the pilot starts to raise the collective, increase the pitch, that induces a lot of drag, which slows down the rotor dramatically, but it's just enough to cushion the landing of the helicopter onto the ground. But the key thing is to maintain that rotor RPM. And the way that is maintained is just by collective control, but also knowing that the helicopter is descending and it's this upflow of air that's actually spinning this rotor. And that is what is called autorotation. Now, as with a lot of things in helicopters, there are lots of moving parts and there are lots of other variables as well. But essentially, when an engine fails or multiple engines fail on a helicopter, as long as the pilot has lowered the collective in enough time that the helicopter starts descending and the upflow of air is able to spin those blades around, so the helicopter rotor RPM is kept in a constant band, therefore the helicopter will glide down to the surface. If you like what I do here, just keep on watching the videos and I'll catch you again. Bye now.